Hello there, long time no see. My cigarette is still smoking. I thought I'd put it out. Uh, how's it going? Long time no see. It is I, Jordan, aka Def Costs. Um, One Piece fanboy extraordinaire, of course. Although I haven't been reading a ton of One Piece recently, except the new chapters, of course. New chapter tomorrow, I think. Anyway, I'm getting excited for something different than what the video is going to be about today. Um, we are going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be discussing a manga that is not super known, I guess. At least as far as I know, it's not like that popular, but it's awesome. It's awesome, and I recommend that you go check it out after watching this video. Although there will be spoilers, so maybe just once I tell you what it is, you can go check it out and then come back and watch the video for my review. But it's actually a French manga. There is, I believe there is an American version or an English version. I think it's published by Oni Press. So definitely go check out the English version if you read English. If you read French, by all means, check out the French version. That's what I did because I actually used to live in France, so I actually have a pretty decent understanding of the French language. Um, so yeah, without further ado, today we are going to be talking about Talli, Fille de la Lune, or Daughter of the Moon. And this is actually the French version. I just read it in French, which is something that I haven't done in a long time. Like, it's been years since I've read a manga in French. I used to read them in French all the time back when I lived in France. But it was awesome to read in French. I love the French language. Um, there's just a lot of like the way it's spoken. Um, I love like the little like the sayings, the expressions in French are really cool. So it was definitely a pleasure to read this manga, Talli, Fille de la Lune, Daughter of the Moon. It's done by an artist named Surya. Surya. He actually streams on Twitch. I think that's where I first came across his work. I saw his stream on Twitch because I use Twitch like every day. I love Twitch. Um, and he was streaming, and I was watching him draw, and I was like, "Wow, this guy is really talented." And it took me a while, but I eventually decided, you know what? Let me buy his manga and just read it so that I could actually have an understanding of like what he's drawing. Because he draws his pages to the like for his manga on his stream. Um, so I bought all three. There are three volumes that are out at the moment. That was the first one. This is the second one, and this is the third one. I haven't read the second and third one yet, but I'm definitely gonna do that soon because I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was pretty awesome. Uh, he was actually inspired by JRPGs, so like Final Fantasy, stuff like that. Grandia, I think he said was another one. Xenogears, games like that, and that's totally the vibe. Like when you read this, that's totally the vibe of the manga. It's like it feels like a JRPG. Like it's in a medieval fantasy type setting. Um, and it's about a group of people who gather together to go on an adventure. So at its basic like core, it's like a JRPG, which is awesome. It actually makes me wish there was a game to play because it would be dope as like a video game as well. Um, so yeah, let's get started here. I'm gonna just go through what happens in this volume and just give my thoughts as usual. Uh, so the art is like his art is really awesome. He's super talented. He gets so detailed with his art. So it starts off, and there's a castle that's being attacked um, by, I think they're called the Special Brigade. I'm going to have to translate because I just read it in French, so I'm going to do my best to translate some of the terms here. Um, so apparently there's like a brigade that are attacking a castle, and they're trying to get a hold of Talli, who is the main character. Um, because Talli is actually the last descendant. You actually don't find this out until later in the volume, but she's the last descendant of um, a, a group of summoners who can summon like chimeras. They're called. Um, and they're like it's like in Final Fantasy when you summon an Aeon or like Ifrit or something like uh, so she can do that. Um, so she bids farewell to her father. Look at the art; it's so well drawn. I love his art style. Um, so the brigade is attacking the castle, and Talli and her knight, who is supposed to protect her, they run away on a horse, and while they're running away, the castle is still like being attacked. Then here we get the introduction of another important character. Her name is Nina. And at first she's a bad guy, but it seems like she's going to actually become more of a good guy later in the story. And then we get, this is the main villain, although he doesn't show up too much in this volume, him, Lord Ulrich. He's the one who's after Talli. So yeah, Talli, daughter of the moon. Um, so they come across a small village. Alan is the knight, and Talli is Talli, the main character. They come across a small village, and their horse actually dies because Nina shot the horse with an arrow while they were running away. So the horse dies. But they come across a small village, and they come across two other important characters. This is Pavel, I guess, and then the kid is Lalo, um, and that's his grandson. And Pavel is actually he sells like swords and treasure and stuff like that. So yeah, so the special brigade is still after them, and Alan and Talli arrive at the village. They come across Pavel and Lalo. Here comes Agua. Say hello to my cat, Agua. Um, so yeah, so Pavel recognizes Talli and is like, wait a second, is that the princess or like someone of importance? And Alan, this is a cool page right here. Alan almost cuts off his arm because he grabs Talli. Then Lalo is actually a very skilled swordsman, and he's able to deflect Alan's attack. And then Pavel, he tells them, yeah, like we can help you because they have to go to somewhere. I think it's called Blue Whale. They have to meet. They're trying to meet this lady called Dame Sybil, who is going to take care of them once they get there, like protect her and stuff like that. Because she's super important. She's the last summoner. Um, so everybody's after her, and she needs like powerful friends on her side so that she can survive. Um, so yeah, so they decide to team up. Pavel and Lalo and Alan and Talli decide to travel together to escape the special brigade and to get to Dam Sybil. Um, so yeah, so they get into a horse carriage. What are you doing, Agla? I hear her like rummaging through something. I don't know what though. Um, God damn it! What are you doing? Oh, she's on the counter. She's in the Whole Foods bag. Um, so yeah, so they start to travel in the horse carriage, and they're kind of like getting to know each other and stuff. And then, oh yeah, Lalo falls asleep because Lalo has this trait where like he doesn't sleep at night at all, but he'll doze off during the day. Like during the day, he'll doze off, but he doesn't sleep at night. Um, and then we see Lord Ulrich, who is talking to Tally's father, and Nina's there. And the special brigade actually went back to the castle to explain that they let them get away. Um, and Nina smacks the guy. Nina hits a lot of people in this one. um, but I mean, yeah, look at that. Like, look at that art. So dope. He makes me want to step up my game. Um, okay, so they decide to go to another little village to rest because it's nighttime is approaching, um, and it says the Blue Whale port is at least a day away. Um, so they have to rest at another village for the night before continuing their journey. And then they arrive at this village where there's like an inn, and Pavel actually is he knows these people. This lady here, she's like a bad guy, and it's her inn. And so uh, they go to the inn. I think Pavel like owes her money or something. Um, yeah, I think he owes her money, and that's why he was selling the treasure so that he can make the money. Um, but anyway, they arrive at the inn. Oh yeah, and this guy, his name is Kenny. He works at the inn, and he's like eavesdropping on Talli and Alan, which comes into play later. Um, oh yeah, and they get a change of clothes because they're dressed like royalty. Alan is dressed like a knight. Talli is dressed like a princess. So it's way too like blatant that like if somebody sees them, they'll be like, "Oh, you're a princess" or whatever. So they put on more like usual like ordinary clothes so that they can be a little bit more discreet. Um, then they have their dinner. Oh yeah, and then Nina, this is where she kind of turns on them. She decides that she's gonna take Talli to the ghosts. I think the ghosts and the special brigade are kind of the same thing. It's like the people who work under Ulrich. They're the bad guys essentially who are after Talli. I think they want to kill her because they want to get rid of all the summoners. Um, so so the lady who owns the inn decides that she's gonna like take them to the ghosts. Um, but yeah, this part is crazy. Uh, Lalo actually, so the guy Kenny attacks Lalo, and Lalo cuts off his arm, which is like brutal as fuck. Because this is a pretty lighthearted. At least it seemed to me like this was kind of a lighthearted story. Like it's a medieval fantasy adventure. But then the dude's arm gets cut off, and you're like, "Oh shit! Like this is for real. Like this is kind of brutal sometimes." Um, I think later on there, people get their heads cut off and stuff, which is up my alley. Like I would do that, and I've done that before in comics that I've drawn, like people getting dismembered and decapitated and stuff. Because I mean, I was raised on Dragon Ball, so. Um, okay, so yeah, so they go after them, and then they end up having to escape the inn because the lady who owns the inn is like turning on them. I mean, she you could tell she was kind of evil from the get go, but oh yeah, and it turns out that Pavel is actually like a warrior called Black Bear. So he's actually like a pretty strong fighter too. Um, so yeah, so they escape the end, and then they run into there's a group of people. They call them heretics, but they're actually a group of people who worship the goddess of the moon, who who the summoners are descended from. So they're on Tally's side. They like in a way I guess they kind of worship Tally, and because she's a descendant of the goddess of the moon. So they run into her, and well, yeah, and I forgot to point out, but when they arrive at the village, they see this. I'm going back a little bit here, but they see a guy who had been hung. Um, can't, there we go. Because he's part of the group of, they call them heretics, but they're actually nice people. Um, oh yeah, and in order to summon chimeras, Tali has to draw blood. She has to like cut her hand, or I think they talk about later, like when she has her period, that actually summons chimeras. Um, so so they escape the end, um, and then they go to where the people who worship the gods of the moon live, and we kind of get a little bit of Tally's backstory, or like the backstory of summoners. Um, they explain a little bit like uh, what happened hundreds of years ago. Apparently, gods used to live among humans, and the god, I think, what's her name again? Elson, I think. Um, Elson fell in love with a human man, and they had four children who were the first summoners. And this was hundreds of years ago. And then the the kingdom, or like the humans actually killed off the summoners. Um, because when you're a summoner, it actually depletes your energy to summon chimeras. Um, so they were able to take him out. So that's why there aren't any more summoners left except for Talli. Um, okay, so then they spend the night. Nina shows up at the village that they just left. Well, I guess they're still in the village. Um, but Nina shows up and comes across the inn where the evil innkeeper and her henchman is. Um, and she wants them to tell them what happened, like where they went. Um, then we get this cool scene between Talli and Laylo, where Talli wakes up in the middle of the night, and Laylo is wide awake because he doesn't sleep at night. Um, and she wants him to tell her like um, why he doesn't sleep, and he says, "Oh, I'll tell you some other time." And I think this is the first time that Layla, because I think I like I said, I've been watching his stream, and it seems like Laylo and Talli kind of have a thing for each other a little bit. Um, I think this is the first instance where you kind of see a little bit of that. Like, I guess this panel in particular where Laylo is like looking at her right here, and he's kind of sweating, and she's looking out the window, and her hair is down. I think this might be the first indication of like romance between the two. Maybe not. That's how I interpreted it. Okay, so then they set off. Um, now that they've regrouped a little bit, and they set off to keep going towards the port of the Blue Whale. Um, oh yeah, but then I guess the special brigade, they caught up to them, and and they start attacking them. So we get this cool action scene where they're in the carriage, the horse carriage, and all the special brigade are like after them and shooting arrows at them and stuff. Um, so it's a pretty cool action scene. Um, but then they actually they catch up to them, and Laylo falls out of the carriage. Um, so they're able to like stop them and almost kill them. Uh, but then Talli says, "Oh, leave them alone. You know, I'm the one you want," and stuff like that. Like Nina's about to kill Laylo, and Talli steps out of the carriage and is like, you know, leave them alone. I'm the one you want, and stuff like that. And then, but then she cuts her hand. Oh yeah, and she doesn't fully control her powers. Like she doesn't really understand how they work. So she's not like a full like summoner master. Like she's still learning how to use her powers. She can't really control them. Um, and but here we get this cool scene where she summons a chimera, double page spread, and the chimera like bites off a dude's head. It has like a horn with like lightning powers and stuff like that. And then it like lights the forest on fire. And so they take out the special brigade. Um, and then Laylo almost kills Nina, but Alan stops him. So they actually end up capturing Nina instead of killing her. And then they bring her along with them. But they like tie up her hands and stuff like that. And that's it. That's the end of volume one of Talli. Um, I kind of skimmed through it a little bit. It's way more detailed, and there's way more stuff going on than what I mentioned. I guess I didn't want to spoil it too much in case you do decide to buy it and check it out, because I would highly recommend that you do that. Like I said, I'm pretty sure there's an English version published by Oni Press, so check that out for sure. How long have I been going? 25 minutes, okay. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be it for this video. I will do another video for volume 2 and 3. I also have a ton of manga that I've bought that I haven't read yet, but I bought some My Hero Academia. I bought One Piece because I'm still reading that. I still have Hunter x Hunter to read. I have Kaiju number 8. I have Jujutsu Kaisen. And I haven't even begun to read those yet. But I just really wanted to read Talli. I guess because it's French, and French stuff has a special place in my heart. But I think I'm going to finish Talli Volume 2 and 3. And then maybe I'll do One Piece, because I've been meaning to do One Piece. One Piece was the main focus of this channel when I first started. But now I've kind of branched out into other manga. But I definitely feel like I should be reading more One Piece. So I might do continue my rereads of One Piece. Um, I also have been drawing a lot recently. Here's my tablet right here. Although I haven't been drawing on my tablet. Um, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my skill level. Like I don't know, but whenever I draw on the tablet, I'm not super satisfied with the way the drawing comes out most of the time. I mean, sometimes it looks okay, but I feel like I draw better on paper. So I've been drawing on paper, and I bought a scanner too. So I've been drawing, scanning, and then finishing up on the tablet, like doing the lettering and like the grayscale and stuff like that, and like kind of cleaning up the page a little bit. I've been doing that on the tablet. Um, so yeah, so I'll put some links in the description if you want to check out my stuff. Definitely check out Suri. So he goes. His name is Surya on the volume, Sourya. But I know his Twitch page is Sulia. It's spelled a little differently. His Twitch page is Sulhya. So go to twitch.tv/Sulhya and check out Sulia as he draws Talli. Whenever he's on, I watch him for a little bit. I tend to lurk, but sometimes I'll type something in chat. I mean, it is in French. He speaks English though. He speaks English, so if you want to talk to him in English, he can respond to you. Um, so yeah, so I guess I'm gonna end the video here. If you indeed watched me talk about Talli for almost a half an hour, thank you very much. And yeah, I will catch you in the very near future. Have a good one.